I was doing a campaign in Cape Town, and I was living in a town called Somerset West. And during that campaign, a prominent evangelist actually came into the truth. His whole family came into the truth. But the devil was so mean, and he tried to make it impossible for me to do that campaign. And he doesn't normally, under those circumstances, attack me directly. He will attack my wife, or he will attack my family. And so my wife had an operation, and we warned the doctor about certain things, and he ignored us totally, and she nearly died after that operation. It was quite a thing. And that night she was at home, and I had the campaign going, and the doctor came and said, we must rush her to hospital. She doesn't think that she's going to survive. And while the doctor was working with my wife to try and stabilize internal bleeding, our cat was knocked over in the street and jumped in through the window, jumped onto my little daughter's lap. My daughter was about 6, 7 years old, and the cat died on her lap. So I had a hysterical daughter in the one room, a dying wife in the other room. I had to leave all this, rush to the hospital, get my wife to the hospital. They did the emergency operations. They managed to save her life. She was in intensive care. And I said to her, I'm going to cancel my meeting tonight because I have to be with you. And she said, no, you will go. And I said, I cannot go. I will not go. She says, you will go. Because if this is from God, then God will take care of me. The doctor said to me, she will not be there when you get back. And I said, I'm staying. She said, no, you're not. You're going. And that night, that prominent evangelist made his decision. So this is an uphill battle. This is not an easy road to travel. She was so weak after that operation because she'd lost almost all her blood internally, and they had to do the transfusion, and everything went wrong in that operation. And I was not there. I had to do campaign. I was in the university teaching during the day, and I was at campaign at night. And she had to cope with these things alone. She had to cope alone. And she was so weak, she couldn't go to the bathroom. She couldn't go to the bathroom alone. And we had no money because after I had become a Seventh-day Adventist, I had to experience how all my funds just went down the drain. And we were so poor, we had no money to get help or someone to look after her. And we were new and in the Adventist church, and we are proud people. You eat your shoes before you ask someone for help. That's also stupid, by the way. And she had to stay at home alone when I went to the university. Now, fortunately at the university, if your classes are finished, you can nip home. It wasn't too far to help her. And so in the morning, I would prop her up in the bed and bring her breakfast and feed her and get the kids ready and do all the things that a wife normally does. And then I would leave, but I wouldn't be able to come back, let's say, till after lunch. So I helped her with the bathroom things and hoped nothing would have to happen until I got back after lunch, and I'd give her a little plate of food. And she always liked fruits and things like that, so she had fruit and bread and avo and all of these things right there next to her bed that she didn't have to get up because she was too weak to get up. And of course she was alone in the home, the children in school, she's alone in home, no one to help her, she's weak, and she was feeling very, very depressed. And we had a dog and we had a cat. And in those days, it was quite safe in our country, so the back door was always open so that the dog and the cat had access to the house but could go to the garden to do whatever they had to do. But she was so lonely. And as she was lying in the bed there, she heard a little pitter-patter coming down the passage. Now, this was very strange. What was this? And it came and it came into the bedroom, and it was a squirrel. Now, she loves animals, and so she watched this squirrel. It's a wild squirrel. And the cat would chase wild squirrels and catch them and kill them. And this squirrel walked past the dog and past the cat. And the cat and the dog did nothing. And the squirrel would come, and the squirrel jumped onto her bed. And then the squirrel would come up to, and it always happened around about lunchtime, and he'd come up to her plate. And so she would share her avocado with the squirrel, give him half, and he would eat half out of his little shell. And then he'd go lie next to her on the chair, stretch himself out in the sun, and go to sleep for half an hour next to her. And this kept her buoyed up and happy. And this happened for 6 weeks, every single day. Every single day for 6 weeks, lunchtime, that little squirrel came down the passage, jumped onto her bed, comforted her, ate a little bit with her, slept with her, and then went out. And after 6 weeks, when she was capable to get up again and to start moving around the house and walking, the squirrel didn't come into the house anymore. He just stayed in the trees outside. And as she got stronger, one day she was standing there at the kitchen, and she looked out, and the squirrel was in the tree. And the squirrel came running down the tree, down the stem, and he came rushing into the house. And he ran up her leg, onto her shoulder, ran down to the other side, down the other leg, and ran up onto the tree. And from that day on, the squirrel was gone. It never came back again. Now, what are the lessons in these stories? You know, God is in the detail. He's not only in the big things, He's in the little things. He cares about you. And that is what makes us so determined to carry on no matter what. Because it doesn't matter what the devil throws at you. God is there to comfort you. And we're still here, aren't we? Yes, sir. We're still here after all those times.